Hello and welcome to how I play my level 85 Cleric. So let's jump right into it here. Today we're going to talk about spells, we're going to talk about some hotbars, we're going to talk about my multi-bind and stuff like that. Now this should be viable for a level 85 heroic Cleric, but there may be some differences. Like my gear is less than what you would have as a heroic at this point. Like I don't even have a good breastplate, so you know, some of those things you might have to just think about on your own. But for the most part, I have a very specific spell set that I use to try and get a little bit of damage out of him, but we just do not have enough of the spells that I want right now to switch my playstyle to the more offensive playstyle that I want to play as the Cleric right now. But Hobbs here is my tank, and Tawani is my bard in this series that I play. These characters, it's the Hobbs and Friends series. So if you want to see more of how I do all this together in the trio, you can see there. And then following this video, there should be a gameplay video of me, you know, going and doing something with these guys. All right, so the first spell we have here is a Frantic Renewal. Now this spell, at first I wasn't going to use, but I started looking at it and I thought about it. Maybe this is going to be useful. Right now, let me target Hobbs here. So it's you know, it's got its own spell line. It heals for 6,200, and it also can cure and remove poisons and stuff like that. So right off the bat, I'm thinking this is pretty nice, and then I cast it. And we got an 18-second recast time. And I thought, oh my gosh, I've hit the jackpot. Why? Because I multi-bind all my characters and all my abilities, so I can just spam one button. So you can see here, everything's bound to 4 and 5 on my hotbar, so everything that's 5 is also bound to 4. So when I push one of those buttons, they all can activate. All built into the Everquest client. So that means that I can stagger spells when there's a delay. So all right, keep that in mind. It's got a 17-second delay. Next up, we have a Promised Recuperation. Now, at first, I thought this was like... I've never liked this spell because, like, watch, right? Like, I'll cast it. It's fast, right? It's a fast spell, but it doesn't do anything. It puts a buff on the target. If we go over here to the... If we go over to him, somewhere there's a buff. Right here, Promised Recuperation. 19 seconds. It takes 19 seconds for this heal to come alive, right? And you're like, wow, that's a long time, dude. Well, I play a warrior, right? But he gets a divine gift right here. Not divine gift, where is it at? He gets an ability. I can't remember the name of it. He gets an ability at some point that increases the healing on those spells significantly. What is it called here? We'll come back to that. There's a gift somewhere. I thought it was divine gift for some reason. Yeah, there's something over here that increases the healing from promised fills. So it's very useful in that regard since I'm running a warrior. Now it takes 18 seconds for it to you know, hit its max, right? It's a 15-second recast time. So definitely interesting there. But what we can do with that, now we have two spells that have two different cast times. And that delays my next spell, right? So then I have, where are they at here? Well, it's not in the right order. I have Devout Light. This does a normal heal for 5,300, and it has a normal recast time. See here, when we cast it, instantly refreshes with a 2-second recast time, right? So that is our spam heal that we're going to be using right now. I'm using a larger heal instead of the remedy spell line right now because I need the healing. Hobbs is almost at 100,000 hit points, and healing 100,000 hit points with the remedy spell line is just like, oh my gosh, what am I doing here? But 5,300 with crits, it turns out to be pretty nice. I also run Holy Intervention, so this is an interesting spell. So it smites It heals the target, so it's going to heal Hobbs, but it's going to smite the target that he is fighting for some damage, right? So if I go here, let me click that, and then if I hit Holy Intervention, you see here he moved, right? If we come back in, it's not going to show, is it? It's not going to work. It doesn't show it, but you can see there, or spell damage, right? Holy Intervention, 3,500 right there. And then in whatever, this was a Gribbles, I was hitting for 12k with critical strikes, right? So let's do that again. So we can actually see the actual cooldown timer there. So 28-second cooldown, right? So now we got some staggering kind of going. We got like 17, 15, instant, 20, right? So we're getting there, right? Next up we have Urd's Retort, which is another, confers reflected damage on the Iron Maiden effects on the target NPC and proc heal on the other player, right? So if I cast this on Hobbs, didn't see the damage. Let me see here. On Hobbs, he should have a buff, actually. I remember how this one works. Where is it? Actually, he might be at buff cap. It's kind of a low buff cap, right? Oh, there it is, right here. 1 minute buff. So this gives the 1 minute buff right here, which allows me to then proc. So I'm on Hobbs right now. So if I attack here, and I go to spell damage, I should see a proc from Retort. It's somewhere in this spam here. Eventually. Come on now. Oh wait, no, it's gonna proc a heal. Never mind. I'm dumb. We can't see healing because we're not actually taking any damage from anything. So, but you can see there now our multi-bind is kind of set up. It's got the beginnings of what I would call a fun play style, right? So we got our big heal that's gonna cure. Then we got a promised heal that is going to heal at some point in the distant future, theoretically, after I've done this cycle a few times. Then we're going to Holy Intervention, which is going to heal him and nuke him. And then we're going to Retort, which is going to give him a 1 minute buff to proc heals, and it's going to do some other stuff there. So it's very nice. And then we have Devout Light as our spammable heal, which will just, whenever nothing else is available, that's what we're going to do. So to test this out, I'm going to push, well, let me show my X target real quick. So I have X target 20 set as the group tank, and it just instantly selects him when I do X target 20 there, and then Merc Assist, so my mercenary, which is, he's missing, I don't know where he went. There he is, right over there. The Pigman, he's my healer. He's my merc, right? He does damage. So if I hit 4, instantly cast that first yelp right there, right? I cast it again, we got renewal. And I cast it again. Divine Arboration, because that was right there. And then, just going through the line. Holy Intervention. Retort. And then it's going to do Devout Light over and over again until, this is me just spamming the 4 button this whole time. Right, so that's back up. Now we can cast the next one. So on and so on. Makes sense, right? And then when nothing else is up, we do Devout Light. Perfect. Works. It works. Next up, we have Silent Edic, which is our AoE stun. I couldn't really think of what else to put here at the moment, because I know in the future I'm going to be changing this up significantly, but you can see this is an AoE 12,000 crit on that one. It's, pretty big AoE stun, so it's kind of just nice to have it on the bar just in case we need it. Then I have Ward of Adonishment, which is anything that attacks me will, I guess, do damage. I've never really paid attention. It does some kind of damage to anything that attacks me, which is pretty nice to have. Then I have Blood of the Unsullied, which is a damage shield, right? So it deals a 77-point damage shield every time the creature hits something, plus every time the allies hit it. So my group hits it, they get healed for 43 points. So it's a nice little spell. It apparently can spread, but I have not. I can't even cast it on the training dummy. There we go. Oh yeah, it's there. It's there. Let me see if it got onto like one of these ones over here. Yeah, see it's spreading to each of these as I click on them, right? So it kind of just spreads around. It's a pretty interesting spell. So you only have to cast it once. The usefulness of it, I'm still up in the air. Then I have Elixir of Expiration. It's the group heal. Now, I don't really do a lot of heal over times because I am currently running a healer mercenary in addition to the cleric, because the content I'm hitting right at the moment is just really difficult, and I need the extra healing right now. So I have it memorized, but I don't really do it because she casts them all the time, and so they're not gonna stack. But without the healer mercenary in the group, I do cast that a little bit more to heal other people, since I only really heal Hobbs. I don't really focus on anybody else at the moment. And then next up, I have these two short duration buffs, Aura of Loyalty rank 2 and Paladinium, or Rallied Paladinium of Vi. Paladinium of Vi is our current level, what do they call it? Melee guard, right? Absorbs some of the melee damage that comes in, and then this one is spell haste, right? So effect spells up to 85. So it's a pretty nice little setup you got as a cleric, right? You got the melee guard buff, you got the spell haste, and whatnot. And then at the end, I just have Hand of Gallantry, which is our current level ageism spell. I have that memorized there until I need these spots for something else, really. Is really what it's going down to, because I don't really cast anything out of 1 through 5 outside of that, really. Everything else is just kind of utility for now. Now, I do cast Aura of the Pious and Aura of Divinity. So each of these now at, I guess, should probably explain it because I couldn't figure it out myself until I spent a while reading every single description on every single one of these AAs. But Spirit Mastery, which is auto-granted at level 85, gives you 2 active auras, right? So I can have Aura of the Pious and Circle of Divinity active at the same time. Now, Aura of the Pious is a melee reduction. Actually, I think it's melee reduction. Let me check real quick. Make sure it's a melee reduction, melee guard, and the other one is an HP buff, right? And we're about 76,000 hit points. This HP buff is about equivalent to the Shaman Pack Wolf spell, so I think it ends up being like 25 to 30,000 extra hit points at 125, and it does stack with the Shaman version. So if you have a Shaman in your group, you will get an insane amount of extra hit points from those 2 spells. Something to keep in mind. You'll notice that I am casting Yelp, which goes out to Yelp's, what is that, Yelp 10 right now. Yelp does not stack with the Beast Lord HP buff, so you need to keep that in mind. If you have it up over here on your buffs, like say you're in the lag pile, and you get buffed, you won't be able to get Yelp, which is theoretically probably better because it's going to give you a lot of mana regen. The only downside to Yelp is if you sit, it goes away. So if we stand up, cast Yelp, wherever that went, where does it go? There should be a Yelp buff. There it is right there. 44-second Yelp. If I sit down, boom, it's gone. So you cannot med as a cleric for the most part if you want to keep Yelp up. And it's generally like my 125 cleric can pretty much spam remedy heals over and over again for infinity and beyond without having any kind of mana issues. Rarely has she ever had any mana issues, so I don't see any mana issues going forward with this character. It's so non-important mana for healing. Now nuking and doing damage, that might be a whole different thing, but the direction where I'm going with this character is going to be kind of towards where I'm going. I went with my 125. Eventually I'm going to try to do a different kind of setup, kind of worth covering here, with the contravention line. So the contravention line here is you know, it's a target, it smites the target. So I have to target this guy, I have to nuke this guy with this spell, and then it's going to, you know, heal Hobbs, right? And it also does more damage if it's everything. So there's a few of these spells, and I think we can, you know, stagger them in such a way that we might be able to get some decent healing out of it. I don't know how well that's going to work with this group combo, right? It might work better with, say, a Shadow Knight, since they're life tapping a lot. But it's going to be definitely something I'm going to try as we get more of those spells. I was actually hoping they were like 75 when they started, so you get like, you know, one every level, so you get a few of these. But unfortunately, you didn't start till 85. Sorry for yawning there. I've hit my limit for the day, and it's gonna be interesting. So that's pretty much the spells I use. I don't really use anything else. Everything else is AAs. So let's talk about burn 1 here. Spire the Vicar, Silent Casting, Flurry of Life, Focus, Celestial Regen, and Healing Frenzy. Right, let's take a look at these one by one. Spire of the Vicar increases my combat prowess passively, right? Blesses all group members with Apex of the Vicar, which increases the total healing to your 75 and higher spells by 2,000 points. So I'm out of the bat, I'm healing way more than I normally do. It reduces all melee damage by 4% and increases armor class by 13. Increases the chance your direct damage will be crit by 6%. Like, really, this lands on everybody in the group. I think, let's see here. Yeah. No, wait. That is different. That is a different... That is not on that list, is it? Alright, so that is... those don't line up. All right. So I guess Apex of the Vigor, this is what the group gets. So everybody gets 4% reduction in melee damage. They get 3% absorb on incoming spell damage. Another 3% absorb on melee damage. And then 16 armor class. And then I guess I get 6% spell damage crit chance. A 30% spell critical damage, and then a 30% chance to trigger magical effects. All right, jeez. So it kind of benefits me to melee during this, I guess, more than I was assuming. I thought that was a group buff. So, you know, doing that would be beneficial, but doesn't really matter too much. It's really just a buff to throw out there. Next up, we have Silent Casting, which would just lowers my threat. I've pulled threat a few times off the warrior, where I'm not kind of used to that yet, so it's kind of interesting, but I think eventually it'll be worked out. So this one here increases our healing by 20% for 1 minute on Flurry of Life, and then Focused Celestial Regen. This is just a heal over time for 2,300 for 3 ticks, it looks like. So it's pretty nice. A little extra healing there. Now I have it in this burn just so that if something else is going on, he's getting a big heal over time, and I don't have to really think about it, is kind of my thought process there while I might be doing something else. So Healing Frenzy. So this increases the chance of a critical heal by 100%, but increases the mana by 50 to 80% for 12 seconds. So I am going to crit every heal, but it's going to cost a lot more, which is not a really big deal. I've noticed. It just doesn't feel like it's a big deal for this class. Next up, we have use item 17, which is the breastplate. I do not have the breastplate, so it's just kind of a placeholder for now. But the breastplate does have a clicky buff that will do something great. And then we have Ward of Purity, which is our current level ward of curing. So this is just throws out an item in the world that will cure poison and disease every so often. So it's kind of nice to have in certain cases, in certain fights, or you can just throw that out there. I throw it out on boss fights because some of them do all that stuff, and that way you don't have to think about it. I'm also curing on renewal here too, so there. And then burn 3 is just intensity the resolute, which is down over here. Intensity resolute. Let's go ahead and just pop that on the bar. Great. There, that is another buff. It does what? 50% critical base damage to spell damage and healing, plus 55 to melee damage. So it's pretty nice buff in lieu of a glyph. That's where a glyph would actually go here. In lieu of not having one to spend there. Let's see here. But as I said, my multi-bind is Yelp, Renewal, Recuperation, Intervention, Retort, Light, and then Exquisite Benediction, which we didn't talk about yet. Summons a stationary ward, which heals everybody. I believe it's the same timer as this one, right? Yeah, it's the same timer as Ward of Purity, so you may or may not get one of those going on at the same time. Then we have Divine Arbitration, which kind of like takes the group. If one person's lower, it kind of adjusts the health a little bit, so everybody kind of is equal in hit points. And then we have Burst of Life, which instantly heals the target for 8 to 12,000. I just spam this on cooldown because it's only a 3-minute reuse, and typically I'm going to need that healing. And then I have the group version of Celestial Regeneration, which just does a group heal for 900 every 6 seconds. Whenever that's up, it's a 10-minute reuse. I figure, why not? Why not? Oh, my auras wore off. Let's see here. That's pretty much all of that. Divine Peace here, I guess we can talk about that one. This is our evade, gets us out of combat. All my characters have a minus sign evade right there, so they'll do all their, fading memories or Howl of the Warlord or whatever, goes there. And then I have this buff macro, which casts, let's see here, let me see, it casts 11, Vi, cast Aura, and then cast Ward. It's just my self buffs, gets me going on those. We do have also Saints Unity. Yeah, Saints Unity, which is our current level Unity spell, which just automatically casts our shielding spell. So depending on what you have, you might have like, I have Heroic Focusing on. So that gives me 10,000 hit points. Do I want 10,000 hit points or a little bit of mana regen right now? I'm going to go with the 10,000 hit points because the mobs are hitting for 5,000. So it's something to kind of consider there when you're playing. Do you want more hit points or do you want that? But I think at 125, I will block focus, if I remember correctly. Let's see here. That's all set. I talked about all that. I talked about all that. Pretty much everything else is clear. We do have these clickies here. Group Purify Soul, and Radiant Cure. These are all cures that can also remove a detrimental effect that cannot be cured normally. This one can remove 6 detrimental effects. This one can move 6 on the whole group. I find it useful to have them on the bar right there because we get snared, we get, cursed, we get slowed, and just being able to click it off with 1 AA versus having to mem a spell is very nice for me anyway, so it's good. Something here we have is Sanctuary, which will instantly heal me for 46,000 and lower my threat on everything that's attacking me. This could be actually pretty beneficial. I've never really used it before, but in the cases where I have died in this series so far, I think it would have been useful had I had it on my bar. I never really put it on the bar until now, so I'm hoping in the long term this is going to be kind of helpful when I take aggro and I can't get aggro off with my warrior. You know, I pop that and I should, you know, evade, if you will, off the aggro, but we'll see. And then we have Divine Aura, just in case none of that works. We can just go invulnerable for a little bit. Let's see here. Gear-wise, I think that's all we have, like, spell-wise. So gear-wise, the most important thing probably is the necklace at the moment because it improves healing. Increases the potency of healing spells by 15 to 60%. So that's, you know, definitely what you want is a neck or whatever item has the healing effect. You're going to want that. I picked up this mace, which is kind of interesting of a mace. It's got a lot of procs on it, right? So it's got Hand of Holy Vengeance, which will heal the group when I melee. And then it's also got Sympathetic Soothing, which every time I cast a damaging spell, which should be the, you know, the intervention and the retort, those should count. Those will, you know, do a heal. And then Sympathetic Alleviation, when I cast a spell, it should give me a chance to get some mana back. These are all effects on the weapon here. This is bought, well, it's dropped in Underfoot, but I bought it from the Mark of Valor vendor in West Karana, so definitely a nice little weapon. I also put this gem in here that gives that Sympathetic Alleviation for the extra mana, so you can see, like, probably in like spells it procs a lot. Definitely worth having there. But everything else I think is just like House of Thule tier 1 plus Elegant Defiant. So the gear is not really worth even considering or talking about right now. You should probably have a sword, you know, a mace and a shield. I feel like that's the best combo because I prefer the more AC for when I do get hit than having a two-hander. But you know, you can play however you want. And I think sword, and, you know, the mace and shield looks better than a two-hander. So it's all about aesthetics. Let's see here. That's that. AA-wise, I would focus 100% on anything that increases my healing, like the healing AAs here. Let's see here. I don't think there's a whole lot in the class section that I would focus on immediately. I would max out like all the archetype healing, so I'm doing the biggest heals I can. I would actually probably then grab some defensive, so if I take some hits, you know, I'm not going to die. And then I would focus 100% on everything else. But if you're playing on live like I am, then everything's auto-granted until 115, so you don't even have to make any choices until then. But then that's when I would start making those choices. But I think that is just about everything that I use, right? I just spam heals, right? You know, I go to my tank, he's meleeing. Let me turn on key maps so Iceboxer works. And then I just hit, you know, 4, right? It was just playing from there, but you can see he starts healing. So I'm just spamming 4, right? All I'm doing is spamming the 4 button. And he's going to heal, and he's going to do all that. I'm not going to take any damage because I'm on a training dummy. Next video, we're going to go fight some stuff in like House of Thule or something to kind of demonstrate the how it all works together with some you know, actual parsing. This is I don't think this is accurate parsing in here, but you can kind of see, you know, the workflow here is just, you know, pushing 4. So I don't think there is much else for the Cleric. It's a very straightforward class because all you're doing is healing. You know, I do have a little bit of, you know, interesting stuff with intervention and retort, but if you watch my other Cleric videos, I'm pretty sure that's what I was doing at this level, and those ones too, if I even made the 85 video before. But I figured I'd do it again just in case, and you know, touch on some stuff that I've thought about since then. But next video, we will, you know, take all 3 group members into the field in somewhere in like House of Thule and just check out parsing, see how the damage is doing, see how, you know, the flow is working on everything, and actually see the spells, you know, working with their cooldowns actually going down correctly. But that's that. Thank you very much for watching, and please have a fantastic day.